Self-esteem as a concept emerged in 1892. Psychologist William James spoke of it in relation to his dire theory of how we perceive ourselves in the world. Psychology wasn't treated as an important science since it deals with very little physical evidence and more of what we actually owns than of the physical evidence. It is the study of behavior, and as such is difficult to prove. And traditional scientific methods. Also, the experiments of psychology were strictly controlled because of the nature of the research. Hence, it took longer for use. To explore the concept of self-esteem, which is such an integral part of the human existence, would recent research, and the technology too, further investigate the phenomenon. We have come to understand the importance of self-esteem in our everyday lives and the consequence of it on our future. In Eastern cultures especially the concept of self has been deeply felt as a fight, and self-esteem is a regular feature of their philosophy. The Greeks as well explored the subject eagerly. So let's get right into it. What is self-esteem? Self refers to who you are, according to you, and the people around you. Esteem means respect. Self-esteem is the respect one receives from others as well as oneself. You as an individual see and are seen by others. Your actions are viewed differently by all. Since you know the entire story, and hence know exactly why you did what you did, and the people will see what your action was. Not a thought process, not just the action, and hence will view your act according to how they understand it, and not how you do. Remember how we discussing the last lesson that everyone is unique, because the experiences are. Similarly, they will judge your actions according to the existing pattern of thinking. So what do you think of yourself is different from what people think of you. And that's why it is important to understand self-esteem. Most people confuse it with the respect one should get from oneself and others no matter what. But this cannot be farther from the truth. What's worse, they believe that they are perfect as they are and hence must be respected. This is where a lot of those go through psychological troubles that can amount to this. Orders. Nathaniel Brenham, an American psychologist during the 1970s, said, "I cannot think of a single psychological problem, from anxiety and depression to fear of intimacy, or of success to spasmed battery or child, that is not traced back to the problem of low self-esteem." People with high self-esteem tend to control of their lives, and in the future to grow in all spheres. Agra have. Muslims place self-esteem on the second highest level of the pyramid needs and stress that an individual would not be able to reach its potential if he lacks this quality. The very muddy vision for success roots from self-esteem. We all seek it, we all want to feel good about the team, and we also all want to feel good about yourself based on our abilities, and simultaneously want our society to recognize that if we think positively about action and someone points out or twice, we either feel defensive because we are driven by the survival instinct, or consider their point of view for what it is and assess if you agree with them or not. I don't know truly if you had belief that you are a bad singer and someone accidentally hears you and acknowledge your talent, you may reject their compliment and insist that you are not a good singer, or challenge your talent. Note your notion about your talent and explore the possibilities. The qualities we attribute to ourselves can range from simply classifying a particular action or complete personality. For example, I don't really do our will. So, is my perception of one well action, but I am about a person, is the perception I have of my entire self. This is where we have problems when we assess or is or self in such a light that we start thinking of our complete and identity as good or bad, and not just to relive and test. The people around us also seem to make similar observations. Some people can point out specific faults in your joining in a few. Others may view it as an entirely good person. So this kind of careless assessment of yourself and others causes a massive imbalance and can completely distort one's views of life. For them more, if you have a habit of thinking about yourself in just one way, you are just positive or negative, then that eventually becomes a part of your personality and is extremely difficult to shake off. The three ideas of self that we have in the ideal self of real self in the dreaded self. The ideal self is, or goal. Real one is what we are like according to ourselves. And orders, and the drug itself is the one we do not want to turn out to be. When we set realistic small goals, we feel motivated to pursue the ideal self and will generally have a better self-esteem. The real self is the understanding of your action, and to us in the present moment, and the willingness or unwillingness to improve will determine whether you have a good level of self-esteem. And finally, the dreaded self is when you acknowledge and act that you do you yourself, look down it, and hence would have a low self-esteem. Human beings will not get out of a bed if there is no motivation to. If I am not hungry, I want to go to the supermarket. If I'm not thirsty, I won't walk to the kitchen. Similarly, if I do not think of myself as capable, I won't want to do anything to actually achieve. Now it is clear why some of us just do, and some even one they can just don't. Or self-esteem determines what we will become, and hence it is critical that we nourish it.